All right, so today I've come to talk about one thing. I feel led to talking about it, and we'll just go straight into it. Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Widj-Gaëlle, and honestly, the channel is growing, the fam is growing, the people is coming. I'm excited to share more about like my thoughts and my reflection with you. And yeah, we'll jump right into it because I don't like long intros. Title of this video is It's Not a Job Opportunity, It's Serving the Lord. Now, I just need you to understand where I'm coming from. I've noticed, and it's something that's kind of been bugging me for the last years, and I've never really talked about it outside of my inner circles, my friends, and the people that I kind of share my thoughts on the evangelical church, or just the kingdom, or certain things that sometimes I'm preoccupied about concerning the works that we do for the Lord. And one of those things, was the rise of just cameras in the church. And I know a lot of people had to adjust because during the pandemic, most of the churches, for those who are not particular with this topic, but most of the churches used to be offline. So when I used to serve in a church, nobody knew I used to attend that church. Hold on. Nobody knew I used to attend that church. What's going on? What's up? So when I used to serve at a church, nobody knew who I was messing with. Nobody knew what was going on. It was just very it was local. It was just, people wouldn't have to know. There was only like a couple of church who had achieved the depth of streaming online, or some of these church who were a bit more like international and stuff like that. And I realized with the pandemic that a lot of church, to make the church more available, had to go online. And it became kind of like that's when church hopping was very legal. Just everybody was going to everybody's church, because for the first time we got to see everyone's church. We got to hear really weird sound system, and then with time everybody kind of got it together, and it became like this really, really cool thing where we were all able to experience church from home. Especially if you had a community, it was kind of tough for a lot of us to adjust to that, but then we slowly got accustomed to it. And with that, I noticed like a bit of a rise of just exposure for a lot of different people. So when people already had a platform, and I'm not talking about y'all, I'm just kind of raising my concerns about how we go about using the stuff that we do for the Lord and exposing it as if the glory that falls in that room has more to do with your capacity than what God really wants to do in that room. I don't think we understand sometimes the principle of grace, unmerited grace that we get from the Lord, the level of mercy that God consistently grants us sometimes. And I think sometimes we just want to have a duplicitous lifestyle. This is charge. If you don't like me, you might not like me more after this. Duplicitous means deceitful lifestyle. And I think sometimes it just looks good to want to appropriate moments that have to do with the kingdom. And you place it on your feed, or you place it outside, or you expose it to other people as if you're the person who is the forefront, the person who needs to get all of the glory. And you do it in a way that seems so holy. And having been in church long enough, you kind of notice sometimes that there's certain people who talk a certain way as if they're more elevated. And it's not just like, honestly, if the hat don't fit, just don't let it fit on you. You know what I'm saying? But I'm really just talking to raise like a certain level of awareness. In some ways, this kind of feels like a rebuke, like a genuine, just kind of corrective approach, because having been submitted and serving in ministry for a long minute, I know kind of like from my own experience, I've lived very duplicitous lifestyle where one night I'm doing this and on Sunday I am raising my hands before the Lord. But with the rise of just social media coming into our church, with the rise of more exposure, the rise of more things, I found that a lot more people are beginning to use the opportunity that they have to use the gift that was freely given to them by the Lord. And He give it, He take it, and the Lord shall be blessed regardless. One of the beautiful things about when God gives us gift, He can stop the level of exposure that happens with it. But what's beautiful about God is that He'll allow you to continue to use it. And I think there's a lot of people who have been able to continue to use their gifts, and it's truly a work of grace. I'll go straight into it because I feel like I'm kind of giving premise, a bit of an introduction into what I'm talking about. And one more time, these are just my opinions, things I'm concerned about concerning the kingdom. And I really feel led to talking about this because I think it will kind of serve as a warning for people who are serving to just be careful, especially if you go to churches that are growing pretty fast, or you go to a church that has a level of exposure and you don't understand the sacrifice that goes behind the leaders of your church. You don't understand the level of pain they go through. through the level of prayer, the level of covering they do over your house, and you think you're walking into that grace and you're walking into these dimension of worship, these dimension of prayer, and these dimension of where you are going to serve, and you take it as if it's your own sacrifice, it's your own oil. Your covering is covering you. And you're not honoring that enough. You're taking that as if it's a job opportunity, as if you had to give your resume to get an entrance key into it. No, you got into it because that's where the Lord wanted you planted. That's where the Lord wanted you to serve. That's where the Lord wanted you to use your gifts for the kingdom. And you've learned much about it. You're growing from it, and you're getting so much more than you thought you would ever get from it. And now that you've kind of got into a level and you're reaching a certain level of things, and truly, one more time, by the grace, the unmerited grace of God. You can't earn this. Okay? So there's just a level of access you are getting that you're completely dismissing the work and what was put into it. And you've just decided, now I'm going to post these small, and I'm being precise because I want you to have like examples of things that I've witnessed and I've seen, and I just feel like it's not pretty, it's not beautiful, and it's not cute to want to be more popular on Instagram, on social media, than you want to actually be known in the spirit realm. What is your priority? Is it that I want more people to know me on Instagram? I'm trying to build my feed and you know, that beautiful moment of worship, that beautiful moment of prayer that I did, or that moment while I was serving, they grabbed a good angle of me right there, or that moment where the camera kind of does a pivot and you look at it and you're like, yo, that angle of me looks good. Let me go ahead and put that up so someone else can see that I'm serving in the house of the Lord, so I can be seen as a woman of the kingdom of God, so I can be seen as a man of the kingdom of God. And there's no fruit, no evidence of you truly being those things. And then you're using your social media platform, and I'm being precise because that's kind of how I feel it in my heart. You're using your social media platform as if that is the forefront and the true reality of who you are. I was confronted with this question not long ago. What if we took all the cameras out of the church just for like the next 3 months? I really believe that there's certain people who might not like it or enjoy it as much. I think there's a level of purity that we need to address in the works that we do within the church. Whether that is you're creating a reel, you're creating an edit, a recap, whether that is you're talking, you're a host. I think there's levels of how much we want to promote ourselves that is becoming very dirty, and it's unholy. It has everything to do with us, and it's like, yo, look at me how I was hosting at this event for the Lord. Look at me how I was hosting for this celebration in the house of the Lord for the 50th anniversary of this, and look at me, and all I see in this is I. It's not a job opportunity. You're doing all these things to be seen by more people as if that is the true outcome of doing these things. And then we sell kind of this Christianity that kind of looks like, as long as people can see me kind of showing up as a Christian, then that is the representation of serving the Lord. What about praying for your enemies? When's the last time we did that? You know what I'm saying? When's the last time you just decided, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and fast just because I'm trying to get closer to God. Let me go ahead and ask him about certain things. When's the last time we put our plates away just for the sake of the gospel? When's the last time that you served at your church and there was a really beautiful moment of glory and you didn't post it? Because you, in some ways, you realize, you know what, these are beautiful moments. It was a beautiful moment and I'm changed because of it. And I'm just very grateful that I was able to experience that in the house of the Lord. I'm very grateful for the leaders who are covering and allowing sometimes for levels of that glory to reach us. I don't have the same due diligence of prayer time as my leaders. I pray, but I don't pray like they do. I know that the burden is not the same on me. And I know that they take a lot. I know y'all ain't gonna like this one, but it is what it is. I'm gonna still post it. I feel very led to. And I'm just concerned about the state of creatives, intercessors that just have a desire to be seen way more than they have a desire to be seen by heaven. What happened to people who just want to be in his presence? What's so wrong about that? What's so wrong about the last 6 months of you traveling for the Lord not being posted? What's so wrong with that? And you know, the people who are called to it, glory unto God. But I'm really talking about people who are like, you know for a fact you would not be coming to church if you could not grab your content. So I'm just honestly, I didn't put no verse into this because this is really my heart talking. I've been having this conversation for a while. If I'm being frankly honest, I've been having this conversation for a while with people around me where I'm like, yeah, there's something really like unpure that it feels like weird. Like, you know, half of the church has become content creators. What's going on? What's going on? I think the intent of serving the Lord and wanting to push his kingdom forward should have nothing to do with our resume, should have nothing to do with the amount of people we want to get to, the engagement we're trying to, like, you know that whenever you post you singing because of the gift and the glory that God has allowed you to touch, you know that draws attention. What's wrong about thinking about, why am I really posting this? Why am I really doing this? Is it really about wanting to share the gospel and making sure that people have encounters of his glory, of his presence? Or is this just about me? And if the answer, if it's just about me, I think the biggest move would be, you know what? Let me retract from doing those things anymore. So the focus can be Jesus. Yo, I cannot stress this enough. So the focus can be Jesus. What's so wrong about him being the focus? I'm wondering. I'm actually like sitting here wondering with you. What's wrong about Jesus being the intent, the reason, the outcome? Isn't he enough? Why must it be that when you see the 10 million views, that's when it makes sense? That's when it's like, you know what? Yeah, let's do it. Like now I feel. And there's such a self-satisfaction thing about this. Until you see those thousands of views, you don't believe you were really with him. Until you see those comments, there's a level of validation that you need out of it. That's weird. And I remember growing up, there was no cameras, there was no, and now there's a lot more people growing with the pressure of having encounters with cameras. And I cannot express how weird that transition was for me when I realized, like, yo, there will not be a church, majority of them that I will go to, that there will not be a camera. And I think it gives us a sense of how omnipresent God is, because the fact that there are cameras everywhere, it's kind of like, that's really how God sees us. Now, when we step into the church, we get a glimpse of how he sees us for our entire lives. Anyways, that's not the conversation, but I grew up in an environment where it was very local. Like, nobody knew your name, for real, for real. They might know you if you attend enough Sundays. I'm just playing. People knew because I grew up there. I'm saying in the sense that, like, you were like, there was nothing to boost your head about. It was like we had a great moment in the presence of the Lord. Now we're going to home. I guess my concern is simply, I think we should just revisit our motives. And I'm talking to myself as well, like in terms of how we use or how we misuse the content or the moments that the Holy Spirit has all ownership over, and how we decide to put that out to the public as if it's our own rights to take that and to use it however we wish. There should be an intent that has everything to do with him. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section. I'm super happy. We're growing as a family, and I cannot wait to continue to raise up these concerns that I have and these thoughts and these reflections. And I hope you kind of relate to some of the stuff I'm saying. If you know nothing about the church, there's probably a church around you. I would recommend everybody to at least try to go to church one time. And from there, figure out what you want to do about your faith, or if you want to become a believer or not. I think those are real questions to ask ourselves. I will talk to y'all in the next video. All right, deuces.